All right. Just wanted to say thanks to my wife. She's holding the camera because I haven't found a good way to make videos in here yet in this tiny room. I tried another camera and it recorded about 5 seconds of video, and I went on speaking for another 20 minutes, so that didn't work out. At any rate, not to bore you with all the details, I just wanted to make a quick video to document some albums that I found this weekend at a garage sale. I typically scan the Craigslist ads on Friday here in Central Florida to see if anybody has anything interesting to sell. In this particular case, somebody posted an ad without any pictures, but it said that they were selling some albums from the 70s to the 80s. So I decided to go check it out. I got up very early, had my coffee at 6, got to the house about 10 to 7, and I was the first person there looking through the records. So this is what I found. They had about 2 very large boxes of records, which was their father's collection, and they were selling the records for 50 cents a piece. So I found some really good stuff, even things that I had been looking for. So I'm just going to quickly go through. These are some of the more, I guess, common albums. First, Siegfried Schwab, Fabulous Guitar. This gentleman who owned these records was a guitar music aficionado, so he had quite a few albums by Charlie Byrd and Gabor Szabo and others that I'll be showing in a little while. So Siegfried Schwab, there was only one record by him, and I got it for 50 cents. There was a Tomita Cosmos. I have a couple of Tomita records already. There he is at his Banks of Synthesizers. This is one that I did not have. It includes the Star Wars theme. Pretty cool find. Next is a belly dancing record by Mohammed El-Bakar and his Oriental Ensemble. And a friend of mine gave me another record by him last year, and it was horrible, but it had a similar type of cover. And I don't even know if I'll probably play this, but it was in great shape. I have quite a few Walter Wendy Carlos records. Surprisingly, I did not have this, his most popular, Switched on Bach. The one that sort of rose her launch to fame back in the 60s. So I was really happy to find a nice condition copy of this. Not really even any ring wear on it. Found None Such music for the classic guitar. I do collect a lot of albums on the None Such label if it's classical music that I am interested in. This one looked particularly nice, and I'm happy to have it. Also found this great copy of Holst the Planets by Sir Adrian Boult, which is on Westminster Gold. Really obvious attempt to capitalize on the Logan's Run concept in the 70s. Pretty poorly executed, and I think it's fantastic. I've actually been looking for a cheap copy of this, and now I have one. And the last classical record, another None Such release, J.S. Bach, Masterworks for Organ Volume 9. I guess I'll now have to track down the other 8 since I don't have any in this series. That's just a joke. I'm not really that interested, but I do like organ music. I like Bach, and I like the None Such label, so there you have it. Okay, Hugo Montenegro, Good Vibrations. It's in pretty decent condition. Here's a Martin Denny that I did not have. Spanish Village. Haven't even actually seen a copy of this record before. I think I have about 8 or 9 other Martin Denny records, so that was pretty cool to find. And a couple of country albums. Chet Atkins, In 3 Dimensions, an older 50s Chet Atkins album here, in good shape. And a Willie Nelson record. The Longhorn Jamboree presents Willie Nelson and his friends. And some of the friends are David Allan Coe, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins. I know that Bobby Joe up in West Virginia probably would like this record. I already have a really nice copy of this one. This is Mary Hopkins' Postcard. It's in great shape. I'll probably keep one and get rid of the other, but I'm not sure which one I'll keep at this point because they're both super nice. Really love this album. It was produced by Paul McCartney, and it's just a fantastic listen. And finally, the last of the kind of more common ones here, The Best of Bread. It's got the little glitter flecks all over the front and back. I had actually been looking for a cheap copy of this too, so I now have it for 50 cents. Everything look okay with the video there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, moving along. I found 3 Roberta Flack albums. First, we have Killing Me Softly with this nice die-cut cover. It's not torn or damaged or anything. It's in really good condition. Also found First Take, which is an album I kind of had my eye out for. This is produced or presented by Les McCann, who I like quite a bit. It's on Atlantic. And then we have Roberta Flack Chapter 2, which is also on Atlantic and also in great shape. And I don't think any of these are actually cutouts or punch holes. Found a couple of Nilsson records that I did not have already. Son of Schmilson. Nice gatefold. This is a cutout. It's got a little saw cut there on the side, but it's in superb condition other than that. And there was another Nilsson back here. This is Harry. Also a gatefold. I found a copy of Crosby, Stills and Nash. It has this gold record award on it. Chris thought that was funny. Nice gatefold. And somebody has torn out the track listing and taped it onto the back of the record, and this is the only one like that in the entire stack. So whoever did that, thank you. Now I know what songs are on this album. That was very helpful. Okay, moving right along. This was a really cool find. Frijid Pink, a band from Detroit. Didn't really have much experience with this band. It looks like the kind of thing I would probably buy if I was at a record store just out of curiosity because it looked really cool. So, happy to have that. Another band I don't have anything by, Mountain. This is Nantucket Sleigh Ride. I know this is probably their most popular release, or at least it must rank up there pretty high because I've seen it much of my life. I've just never bothered to buy a copy of it and listen to it, so I'll be checking that one out. Band I have not heard of, know virtually nothing about. This is Cold Blood on the San Francisco label. And as you can see, they're in somewhat hippie attire on the back cover. Now, onto some Aretha Franklin records. Queen of Soul, in great condition. Aretha Franklin Soul 69. Here's Aretha in Paris. And most, if not all, of these records are on Atlantic. They're all stereo pressings. I've gotten some of these out of order. Here's another Aretha Now.
Do you have Aretha later?
No, I don't. Aretha Franklin, Spirit in the Dark. I wonder if she released one called Aretha later.
Doubt it.
Great shape on that. Another early one, Aretha Arrives.
Timely.
Indeed. And I think that does it for the Arethas. Okay, this is a record that I had actually been looking for a copy of. A friend of mine played it for me a few years ago at his house, and I really loved it. It is Cruel Sister by Pentangle, English folk band, kind of folk rock band from the 70s. It's a unipack, and there's just nothing wrong with it. It doesn't even have any hole punches or saw cuts on it. So Somebody took really nice care of that. Another sort of hippie acid rock thing here. Iron Butterfly Ball with a really fantastic unipack here. Although it does have a nice hole punch there in the corner. It's got the Gold Record Award again.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to glue this when the unipack was falling apart on the top and the bottom, so I glued it back in place this weekend. Okay, really excited about this for 50 cents. My first ever copy of In the Court of the Crimson King. As you can see, it's in excellent condition, and I believe this is my 4th King Crimson album. I know most people probably get this as their first, but I just had not run across a copy that didn't have a lot of heavy ring wear on it, or the disc wasn't shot, and this one, the disc and the jacket, are both immaculate. So I was extremely excited to find that. Okay, another really cool record I knew nothing about, Martha Velez. I understand that Eric Clapton and Jack Bruce both play on this. It's called Fiends and Angels. I just picked it out of the stack because it looked really intriguing. Can't wait to hear the music on it. Okay, on to some Bossa Nova. Found a few Astrud Gilberto records I did not already have, so this is the Astrud Gilberto album. And also, I found The Shadow of Your Smile, which has Fly Me to the Moon, a song that I had been looking for on vinyl, and now I have it. These are pretty common albums, but I hadn't really found any suitable copies for cheap. I already have had about 3 copies of this, and I have a very nice copy in my office, so I'll probably keep this one too, just because I like this album quite a bit. It's Astrud Gilberto and Walter Wanderley's A Certain Smile, A Certain Sadness, and you think maybe they might have been able to get this front cover photo in focus, but that just didn't happen in the session, so kind of a funny little tidbit about that. Never seen this before. Walter Wanderley's Murmurio, Murmur of Love. I imagine this is Bossa Nova Exotica. And on to some Dave Brubeck albums. Newport 1958, the Dave Brubeck Quartet. My first ever copy of Time Out, an original 60s pressing. Not one of the earliest pressings because it has the brown stereo in the center up on the top. But it is a Columbia 2i. It's even got the old style plastic bag instead of a paper sleeve. It's in great shape. The disc is in great shape, and so is the jacket. I love this album. I have it on CD, never owned it on vinyl. So that was a really cool find for 50 cents. Also, Jazz Goes to College, the Dave Brubeck Quartet. And finally, another Dave Brubeck Quartet. This is Jazz Impressions of New York. Just in time for a New York trip that I hope will be coming up maybe later this fall. And Chris is shaking her head no. So I guess I'll just be sitting here listening to this record.
You know about that? It's a secret.
Let's see. We have a jazz vocalist, female I had never heard of, Chris Connor, with I Miss You So. Nice laminate jacket. It's got a tiny hole punch in the corner here. Don't really know too much about that one. And this Nina Simone record, which is a mono pressing, Wild as the Wind. Nice pinkish colored front on Phillips. And this one I'm very excited about, the Bill Evans Trio 65 on Verve. I like Bill Evans, and I did not have any of his stuff on vinyl. Okay, now for some Charlie Byrd albums. The rare Charlie Byrd album that does not feature a bird on the cover. This is The Stroke of Genius. Obviously, he's playing with a an ensemble there, not a solo Byrd recording. This is from the early 70s. Charlie Byrd, Bossa Nova Pelos Pasaros. And like most Charlie Byrd records, this one has birds on the cover. Quite a variety of birds, actually, on this one. This one has an owl. This is Charlie Byrd, the Great Byrd, featuring Wichita Lineman, one of my favorite Jimmy Webb compositions. All right, and then we have, this is the last one, Riverside is the label, Charlie Byrd Solo Flight. And again, I have quite a few Charlie Byrd records already, but I did not have any of these. So it was nice to find them. Another great guitarist, Joe Pass. This is an album of him covering songs by the Rolling Stones called The Stones Jazz. And this is on the World Pacific label. And then on to quite a few Gabor Szabo records. On the Blue Thumb label, we have High Contrast with this matte cover. Next is Magic Connection, I think. Yeah, Magical Connection. Another Gabor Szabo record. Another gatefold. It's a picture of the band on the back. And somehow, again, I did not have any of these Gabor Szabos, but I do have other records by him. This one is a double album, his great hits, 2-record set with some nice psychedelic artwork floating on the cover. Kind of a boring inner gatefold there. And a really nice looking one, Gabor Szabo, more sorcery, with this great laminate cover. This does have a hole punch in the corner. It's on Impulse. Very, very nice looking sleeve there. And I have a couple more Gabor Szabos here in the back. So here it is. Let's see. We have the best of Gabor Szabo. This brilliant red color, really striking, also on Impulse. These are all really sturdy, well-built records, by the way. This might be the last one, Gabor Szabo, 1969. So obviously this gentleman was a huge Gabor Szabo fan. And I am too. So they went on to the right person. A couple of Spanky and Our Gang records. This one has the song that I had been looking for, Like to Get to Know Ya. And then another one that I'm not familiar with, which is Spanky and Our Gang, Anything You Choose, back with Without Rhyme or Reason, which has this really striking psychedelic cover, die-cut jacket, and then you have this nice label with the reverse red and yellow on either side. Let's see. Hank Crawford, Mr. Blues plays Lady Soul. This is Hank Crawford covering Aretha Franklin songs. And this one is on Atlantic. Picked this one up because it had Red Norvo. It looks interesting. We remember Mildred Bailey with Mavis Rivers and Red Norvo. And on the back, this is on VJ Records. On the back you have a picture of the session. And it looks like Red is playing drums on this album instead of Vibes. I'm more of a Red Norvo Vibes fan, but I'm sure this is going to be great. So that was a worthwhile pickup. 2 more to go. Wes Montgomery, Tequila. I did not have this album. Anything by Wes is always worth picking up, in my opinion. This is on Verve. And last but not least, we have B.B. King, Blues on Top of Blues. I don't have a lot of blues albums, and I didn't have any B.B. King. And this is in fantastic condition. It's on Bluesway. Really, really nice record. I'm extremely excited to play this and find out what it sounds like. So there you have it. Chris, I'd like to thank you for holding the camera. I know it's late. Just wanted to get these out of the way so I can get them documented and George can see them, and maybe anybody else who would be interested in what it's like to go to a garage sale in Central Florida and get a really amazing score. So,
Daddy, why don't you tell him how much that's worth?
I don't know. I did some pricing, but I'd rather not say. Some of those, let's say, are worth a chunk of change. But, I'm going to be listening to those. There might be some I decide to part with, and I'll put them up on Discogs. But thanks again.
No, thank you.